So, welcome to the MindPrime podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the power of water in your mind. See, your brain is made up of about 85% water, and water can, or the lack of it, can stop you concentrating, can affect so much in your life. But have you ever thought of the effects of the quality of your water? So, today, I've got the most incredible human, one of my favorite people in the world, on to talk to us about this very thing. Her name, well, to me, she's always the queen of positivity. And now, the new Erin Brockovich, it's Sheena Cantar. Thank you so much for joining me, Sheena.
I feel like giving myself a cheer now and going, yay! And Sheena's in the room. Yay!
So, thank you for coming on. I just wanted to start with really about what you're doing at the moment with the water and why water is so important, the quality of it.
Before I even start, like Louise gave me such a wonderful introduction. But let me tell you, when I first met Louise, I could absolutely see her greatness. And if there's one gift that I have absolutely been given is just, if you're in my line of view, there's something in there. If you won't go out of my mind,
Yeah.
there's something in there and it's ready to come because I am seeing it. And it's so hard sometimes to describe that to people, but you stayed the course. I was going, get yourself in here. I don't care how you do it.
I
And
did.
you followed me and you followed me. And
Uh,
then I've just seen
Do
you
you know, if it
absolutely
wasn't for you,
fly.
Sheena, I don't think I would have done any of this. Sheena actually mentored me and coached me in the beginning, and she was the first, you were the person that made me get on her live. Do you remember? And now I do it. But it was if that never happened, if I never met you and did it, I don't think I'd be doing any of what I'm doing now. So thank you.
Oh no, I know you would have found somebody else. It would have happened. It just so happened that we had that connection. And I just go, when people don't leave my mind, I just know because there's something there. And I don't know how to explain. Sometimes I feel like I'm hunting them down. So I've actually had to just go, leave it, leave it, leave
Yeah.
it, see it already done. Okay,
Oh,
okay, and then but everybody I've had my eye on has literally gone and done whatever they wanted to do. So I
amazing.
just love that. So that's my gift
Yeah,
from Source. So
it was a
that
gift. I love how we met
why
actually.
yeah.
There's a story about how I actually came. Well, I was listening to a YouTube channel and there was a video came on and I was listening to it getting ready on the other side of the room. And then by the time I got to the video, which it was you talking, by the time I got to the video, it had ended and I couldn't go back. And then a few weeks later, you reached out to me on LinkedIn. And then when I Googled your name, the video came up. And I was like, that's how I knew to work with you. It was like as if it was meant to be.
Oh my God, isn't that so funny? Oh, that's
Yeah.
just brilliant. I love that. I love that. So where the water came in was really understanding. So we all go through our life challenges, and I seem to have like them all hit me in one go over a 3 year period where when you're stripped down to absolutely nothing is when I realized I was privileged beyond belief. I had nothing left, no home, no family even. People had died and blah 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 blah. But basically, when you're left sitting more or less on the floor with nothing and just seeing, and actually letting go of the mind and letting go of the ego and realizing that I didn't have the answer. I didn't have the answer to anything. And here's me being studying and being Bob Proctor's, top
Yeah.
consultant. And I've got the answers to everything you
Yeah.
have. And I haven't at all. You have all your answers. And I sat there and I went, I actually don't have the answers. Oh my God. And I just saw this blankness. And there I heard finally, thank God, she's
Oh, wow.
finally given up. She's finally let her left brain just go, bleh. It just didn't have an answer anymore. And I literally heard that being said. And I went, oh, was this what you were pointing me towards? Duh, yes. It's
Wow.
just like the nothingness, getting back to basics. Privilege wasn't having, it was you already have. And until I had nothing, I couldn't see that I already had everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's what I tell a lot of the clients as well, that everything is within you. So when you work with people, it's not like that you have the answers, they have the answers. We're just trying to get it out of you. So it's great. But I
Yeah.
always find it strange that we always have to hit rock bottom before the revelation comes, right? So everyone is complaining that their life is falling around them, and I'm like, it's okay. It has to.
Yes, yes, it's supposed to. I
Yeah.
remember whenever there was, I mean, because you've had some, horrendous stuff
Oh,
yourself, and it's just
yeah.
like, but now you look back and you go, oh, I see all that happened, so it could crumble away
Yeah.
all so when you start Bob Proctor's work, it really did. It crumbled away everything, like,
Everything.
yeah, I can see your people. Yeah, everything.
Everything. Because you changed your whole self, and then everything else had to fall away, like friends and relationship, whatever it was, everything fell away. And it was scary for a little bit. And then, but then at the end, you looked back and it was meant to be, it had to happen for you
It
to
had to
grow
happen. You would
through it.
never, yeah, you would never have the insights of yourself
Hmm.
that you have now. And I think it's also the like the humbleness. And so being at the lowest point of where you are. Now let's think of bringing this back to water. Water always finds its lowest point. Like think of the ocean. The ocean doesn't strive to get anything. It just is. It
Mm.
just sits there. And all the rivers and all the rain and all the water in the world will flow down to the ocean.
And back
And
in.
so when I'm sitting there, on my backside, like just going, uh-huh, I think I might be getting the idea now. Like, stop trying so hard, get back to basics. And so then it brought me back to the basics of Bob Proctor's teaching. So he said we were on three planes, spiritual, mental, and physical.
Yeah.
And so spiritual, it's about getting back to God and that we are God and everything is God. I mean, you can use a different word. People may not like the
But
word
yeah,
God.
people use a universe or whatever.
And
But
I just
God
had to
is.
get over the word God because I didn't like
Yeah.
the word God
I
either
didn't
because
at first
it's
either, but now I'm all godly and I'm going to church
yeah,
Sunday.
yeah. It means well to me it was like religion, but God isn't religion.
Yeah.
You can go to church, but God isn't religion. God is everything. God is my glasses. God
Beware.
is this screen. God is the sun. God is it's
And you. God
everything.
is
Yeah,
you as well.
yeah. And so when you start to realize, that took a while for that to come in to really understand what God was, and then to be at one with that. So that's the spiritual side of it. The mental side of it then was basically I would say Bob Proctor. Out of all the teachings I did, Bob Proctor was the basic because he actually taught us how to think. He didn't teach us anything. He taught us how to
To
think.
think.
He
Yeah.
didn't teach us what to think.
Yes.
He gave us that matrix.
That framework. And it's so
That's exactly.
simple as well. And
Oh,
you
get the other
overlook
side.
it.
You go, duh, it's simple, but
Yeah.
while you're going through it, it's like,
It,
what?
it's incredible what it brought me just doing that with you and Bob Proctor course. It was incredible. And I teach it still to random people that I meet all the time. It's once you've learned it, it's like you can never go back. It's like your life is never the same again.
Oh my God, tell me. It's like, okay, Bob, I get the idea now. Had to crumble everything down. I wish you'd told me that before I started. Like, maybe,
Yeah,
but then if he told you that before you started, you probably wouldn't have done it.
done it.
You'd held on so tightly to what you had, but none of us, all the Bob Proctor students, I don't think any of them knew what was going to happen to them whenever they did that. He doesn't explain that.
No.
And so, but it's actually one of the blessings to let go of your ego mind, not to trash it, not to kill it, because people say hate the ego. No, no, no. It's all part of you. It's
Yeah.
all the same thing, and it's about loving everything. So that was the mental side of it, getting back to basics, not what to think, but how to
How
think.
to think. Yeah.
Very key. Then the last one then was physical, and I'm like, okay, well, what's the basics of our physicality? And that is water.
Mm.
So I just started to look at all the vitamins that people buy, and then I started to look around, and nobody drinks water. And then I read a book about, like you're not sick, you were dehydrated, and it was as if something just went, of course, of course. We're
Yeah.
adding in all these other things to us, and we're creating so much toxicity. If we don't get the water right, just like if you don't get who you are right, the spiritual level right, spirit level, I love that. I see that all the time, spirit level.
Spirit level.
If we don't get it right, then we're building on faulty sands. And so what I realized, like you just even think of mental health conditions. So many times our body's in fight or flight. And
Yes.
so the mind is trying to figure its way out, and that's not the mind's job, which is why we need then the mental how to think in there,
Mhm.
not what to think. It's not the mind's job to figure out all the answers to the world's problems because they've already been solved.
Yeah.
But we give our poor little left mind, like the right brain goes, oh, let's do this, let's
Yes.
do that. And the left brain goes, no, don't be stupid. How
Mhm.
am I going? I can't get, it's busy figuring out the how. And that wasn't its bloody job. And so when I started to realize water, then, obviously, well, when my brothers died, he looked like he was literally all the water was sucked out of him, completely dehydrated, just skin and bone, 57 skin and bone. And my other brother then walked into the water to end this game,
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm getting the idea of the water. And then I read a book about I can't remember his name, so if anybody wants to put it in any
Yeah,
comments
the
or
chat.
whatever, and he had literally he'd been put into prison by wrongly, but he utilized his time while he was in prison, and he started to notice that people weren't drinking water, but they had all these complaints and conditions. So he asked them to start to drink just even plain tap water to begin with, and he noticed that their conditions started to get better. So
Mhm.
then this guy was actually he was given a reprieve. He shouldn't have been in prison in the first place, but he actually asked, "Can I stay in prison because I need to finish my study?"
Oh, wow.
And so he stayed
Cool.
on purpose to finish his study with all these people. And basically, we're not drinking enough water.
I'm really bad at this. And a friend of mine, she loves water, constantly telling me, drink water, drink water. So then I finally started to drink it more. But I was really dehydrated and I used to have really bad like memory. Even yesterday, I started to forget things that I had to do. And then I was like, I haven't drank water. It's so important. It's like the basic human needs of life, like water, food, sleep. Like we forget the basis in life.
Oh God. Well, what masters like whenever I was skiing and I was noticing somebody who was a top skier and practicing all the basic things, and I'm like, well, why are you still doing that? It's just if I don't get this right,
Everything else
then
falls.
nothing's right. Yeah.
Yes.
The basics, that's all. And then the macro comes from the micro. And if we don't get the micro right, well, what do you think's going to grow out of that?
hmm So what happened with the study?
So that's where then that led me to people that I'd studied with Bob Proctor with. And so I reached out to one of the girls and she was doing a water business. And I'm like, oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Aligned.
And so I wasn't really looking for it. I was looking more of a community of the divine feminine. I've been very masculine,
Yeah.
and Bob's teachings can be very masculine, and we've got to remember to let go and allow the feminine to do the work that she's supposed to do. We're just supposed to make the decision and then let the divine feminine do the work. So I wanted to be surrounded more by women who were like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I reached out to, and she told me about this water, Kangen water. And so me with my evidence. So even whenever I did my Reiki and I was healing the animal, I wasn't healing anybody, but it appeared that animals would be healed, etc., etc. And I would go, well, what's the science behind this? Because I'm not nothing special. What's the science? So I started investigating the science, and I got the science, but then I got the feedback mechanism on the generational wealth that came with it, and I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention because when I say paying attention and pension more or less sound like the same thing. So pay attention to your pension because it's
Attention.
crap. So sorry, anybody out there, your pension is crap. Like if you think that that's gonna, anyway, I don't know for the young ones as well. It's not even going to be there by the time you get there. You're just going to have to admit it. You're going to
Right.
have to work for the rest of your life, which is actually great as long as you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't
I
call it
was thinking
working.
that the other day. I was like, if I have to stop working, and I said, I won't. I don't think I
No.
will. When
I
it's
think that's when you die. There's always a purpose, something to do, somewhere to be.
something.
Just, there's just even if you are being that's a purpose in its, even on its own. And so one of the things though that when I first drank the water, you said that, you had memory. Well, when I first drank this water, my I felt like my brain expanded. I felt like I'd actually filled my brain with water for the first time ever. I literally felt
It's incredible.
cells expanding. And this is before I knew all the evidence
Really.
behind it. I'd felt the difference. So I'm not going to use this to go through the evidence here. There's plenty of things out there that I can send. But then my son had put it this way, 15 years of toxin abuse, to himself. Bearing in mind, I've already lost my two brothers
Yeah.
and my mum in 3 years. And I looked at my son and he looked like he was about to die. He looked like my brother did two
Oh,
months before he died. And I just thought, I'm not having somebody else
gave
die
me
in my
goosebumps.
family. We are done. We are done with death. Okay,
Yes.
universe, we are done
So
now. We are now growing.
you
We are growing.
decided. You decided.
When
No,
you said, yeah, I did literally, I
decided.
decided. And like you say, it sometimes it takes you to go to rock bottom before you go, no more, no
Yeah.
more. Like people can say that now. They don't have to wait. I just want you to know that anybody's listening,
Don't
you
wait
don't
to
have
rock
to
bottom.
wait to
Yeah.
get to rock bottom. You can stand here now and just go, no more, no
Yeah.
more. We're growing now. So
Hmm.
that was what I said. So my son came to live with me, and I kid you not, within 3 weeks, that my child, 31-year-old male, who looked like he was at death's door, who couldn't walk the length of himself, literally had picked him up off the streets. 3 weeks later, we'd gone for a 10K walk. He's at the
Wow.
gym every day. He looks like he was, and I just sat, I took a picture of
Actually,
him
I've
and
seen a
compared
picture of him
him.
recently. I think you shared it on something. I saw his picture.
Yeah,
It's healthy.
On
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah,
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, I've done an article on there and called Gratitude. And I just said, how you, because it's not about what's going on and me telling him the water, the water, the water. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like blah, blah, blah. I said, what's your experience of the water? And he
Mm.
said, well, before I felt empty. He says, now I feel full.
Wow. That is such an incredible story, Sheena.
And you know the way Bob Proctor's our mental work cleared out all the crap from
Mm.
the cupboards, yeah, in our
Yeah.
mental. What I'm finding that Kangen water does is it clears out the crap from the inside as well, from
Wow.
your cells, from everything. So he had nightmares, he had night sweats, he had terrible thoughts going through his mind. But I
Mm.
said, that's okay. I said, I want you to sit in the darkness and I want you to love it. I want you to love everything that's come up, things that you haven't seen, things that you're afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Mm.
His bladder was so weak and so tight and so toxic that he couldn't walk the length of himself without needing a pee. And he was in so much pain. But he started to experience a different pain with his bladder. And I said, that's your bladder expanding. I
Ah.
said, I want you to go into the pain and I want you to love the pain. I said, because your bladder we're so afraid of pain. We take tablets to hide it.
Mm.
I'm not saying,
Sometimes it's telling you something, you know?
yeah, yeah, being excruciating pain. Just go free, take the bloody tablet for God's sake. But I said, this is different pain. I said, this water is healing water. And what happens is this water is electrolyzed, reduced, hydrogenated water. It
Ah.
breaks down. Molecular structure is normally about, say, 15 to 20 molecules of water. So it's not getting into the cell. So you can drink tap water. Don't I can go into the quality of the water, the tap water, the bottled water, all the things that have been
I
taken out of
Yeah,
it,
I
all
thought
the
I was
things that
being
have been.
great with the Brita filter, and I thought, oh, I'm amazing. I never drink tap water. I'm always filtering. And when I saw what you were doing, I was like, I never thought of the quality, like what's in the water. And then a few weeks ago, Mom got a knock on her door, and so she opened it, and there's a water board. And then they said they had just got to come and test the water. So they came and tested her water, and then they said that her water's contaminated. And then they stopped her water and then gave her loads of bottles of water and things. And for the past few years, you might remember that my mom's been sick constantly. And she's been throwing up. She's lost all her weight. She's like skin and bone now. And I was just thinking, how long has that been going on for? Nobody knows what is in your tap water. And have you ever checked it? I didn't even realize you
And
could
that's,
check it
yeah.
yourself. Like you can get tests as well to
Yeah.
check it.
And that's the thing is that, so if we start with the molecular size, first of all, if you drink too much water, what you're having is extracellular water. So, like say raspberries, we pour tap water on them, they kind of go flat, don't they?
Yeah,
They go
yeah,
bleh, like that.
yeah.
Because the water's extracellular, it hasn't got through the membrane. And so
Okay.
whenever you rinse these, the raspberries in Kangen water, it actually breaks through because the molecular, there's only about 4 or 5 molecules to group together, which means it's actually going through and it's actually pumping it out from the inside out. So this is what I was experiencing in my mind. When I saw it with the raspberries, then I went, that's what my mind experienced. That's what Connor's bladder experienced. That's what his whole body was experiencing. He was feeling full,
So it's not
you
just
know.
it's got no badness in it. It's got stuff to actually improve.
So it's not just that. So when you filter water, what you tend to do is filter out the good stuff as well. And so there's so many things I didn't even realize what was in our water. The not just there's pharmaceutical products in the water.
I
There's
just read
there's
that this morning that there
there's
were
metals in the water. There's
yeah. I didn't even realize that everybody's putting their medicine down the sink, like antidepressants
oh, you're
and the
peeing it out.
pill.
You're peeing it out.
Yeah, you're drinking that, you know?
Yeah. it's not being filtered out properly. And so that's what we're looking at. And so this isn't, I don't want to go around scaring people. That's not what it's about. But it's just like, if it's not, if what you're doing isn't working for you, like your mum's just like, okay, go to the basics. First of all, the quality of your water. But is then the filter that's going to filter out all the goodness as well, your calcium, the magnesium, potassium. So then you want to look like, okay, well, I'll get bottled water then, but that's been filtered.
too. Yeah.
And then even the alkaline water, well, that's been filtered, and then sodium bicarbonate things added to make it a pH. All you're doing is still adding more toxins in. So the ORP, which is like a positive ORP, means that you're adding more free radicals to the basically toxicity to your body to have to get rid of. Whereas what I found out about Kangen water, it is a negative ORP, which actually creates more of the electrons, which are like radical scavengers, and it goes around and it creates more.
Wow.
And if you've ever seen somebody gets up first in the morning, test their blood, look at it under a microscope, drink coffee, test it under a microscope, drink water, the best water you can have. And that's really surprised me about the radicals that are actually in the best water. I'm not even going to mention names, but that gave me a bit of a shock. Wow. And then you do it with Kangen water, and you look at the blood as it moves around. So when you first get up in the morning, that's why you feel fatigued, because your blood cells are all sort of like, clumped together. Mm-hmm. Then when they drank coffee, you could see them moving around, but they were still clumped together. Okay. So then whenever you drink a bottled water, then they're moving around, but they're still clumps. And when you see somebody's blood who's had Kangen water, it was like little children, honest to goodness. It was just, I was just laughing, like it looks like they're going boing, 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 like that. Literally. Yeah, all bouncing off each other, full of life. And I went, that's what I'm feeling. So general fatigue, Kangen water.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
mental health.
Has it
ADHD?
This is what I was going to ask you. This is one of the questions I wanted to ask you about, because I saw your post about ADHD and autism symptoms things. And then this morning when I was like researching the water, I was having a look online, and they said that they have lots of forever chemicals in the water, and that can cause development things. And I was thinking, okay, that's interesting. Seems it's on the rise at the moment. So I wanted to ask you about what benefits they had.
Yeah, well, I can send you a testimonial of a child with autism. And so that's what we hear. I mean, this water has no medical claims at all.
Yeah.
So because at the end of the day, everybody has their own experience. And we know from research that whenever you look at a physician and a patient, depending on their belief system will depend on the results they get.
Yes, it really would.
That's why there's placebo, because placebo, that's why you get results, because if you have that belief and the doctor doesn't know it either, and they both think they're getting the medication, of course you're going to get. I mean, we don't need the water. We don't need any devices whatsoever. We are more, just as we said right at the beginning, we are the power itself. We are the power and presence of God. So I know this.
Yeah.
And I know that I can pick up any glass of water and it will be transformed, because the love within me will transform anything. I really learned that. And that's why it stopped me from coaching, because I went, well, everybody's fine, because I'll just think of somebody and I will heal them. And in my world, that's how it's going to be, And I was just like loving life. And then I went, well, this is actually a bit boring. I need some toys to play with and people to play with. It's kind of boring on my own here. So I've decided to play with Kangen water, because I also heard coaching isn't getting into the dark spaces.
Yeah, that's what I found as well, which is that when I combine the therapy side, it's more powerful.
Yeah, we need to get into the darkest crevices.
It's like you have to go down, like what we said about breaking through. You have to go into the dark to get into the light. And even when I coach people, I wouldn't even have them that long. A lot of coaches have containers for months, and once you realize that you are enough and you're perfect as you are,
that's all you need.
That's all you need, isn't it?
That's all you need. And then
a good belief system moving forward, and you're set. And water.
And so it's just to remember that these are the three areas. And so of course you can do stuff in the physical world to help you. Of course I exercise. Of course I do stuff, but I do it because I enjoy it. I actually do it really all for my mental health, because as long as I feel good, And I feel good when I get out for a walk or I go for a run or I walk up a mountain. I feel good. I feel good when I drink this water and I feel good sharing this water. So if people, it's like rising in consciousness. So if we get the water and it goes right into the deepest, darkest corners of you, then it can start clearing stuff out. And then you can start to rise naturally. And you will start to then hear what Louise is trying to tell you anyway. And then even with the hypnotherapy, maybe it's not going like deep, 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 deep enough that we can get the water is going to reach every single
Everywhere.
corner. And then you will rise and then you will hear what I'm saying. Because I couldn't hear what Bob was saying.
Yeah.
I could hear it,
Yeah. I can hear
but
his
I
voice all the
couldn't
time.
hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew everything. I knew
Yeah.
everything.
I
That's why
don't
I
think
had to
you know
repeat it for
nothing.
5 years. And yeah, oh my God, whenever you first come to that realization, huh, I know nothing. And when people say, Sheena, what do you do? I don't know.
I don't know anymore. I just know nothing.
But then they look at you like you're daft and says, okay, well, I play polo. Is that good?
Yeah.
Because like I have no label anymore. I don't really know what to call myself anymore. So,
Yeah, Aaron Brockovich.
oh,
I love that. I wanted to, if you were like to leave like one message now in the world, because I know your vision has probably changed from what you were doing before, what would your new message be? Like legacy to leave behind?
you are enough.
You're enough. That's amazing.
And just as you said, Louise, that we're always trying to make up for ourselves. We're trying to, we didn't feel good enough. And I think as a coach, I realized I coached because I wanted people to be better and I could see their potential
Yeah.
and I could see it in them. What I hadn't realized, I was seeing what was already there. It wasn't a potential. It was just to get the crap out of the way. And I was really keen on just making people better. I wanted them to feel good enough, but that was only because I didn't feel good enough. And so whenever I started to feel good enough and realize I am as God created me, and leave myself alone and just enjoy
Life.
observing what's happening. It Nothing matters. I'm always here. I used to always be there. People might say, well, where's there? Well, wherever there was, I was
Yeah.
never here.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. So it doesn't matter where I am. I'm just here
She's
and
everywhere.
I'm enough. And I want to pass that message on to everybody else.
I would love that. That's kind of what I would say as well. So my one legacy of love would be to leave a legacy of love with yourself in the world. Just to know that you're enough and to know that you're loved
Mm.
because
Oh
you
my
love you.
goodness. Yeah.
And I was even at church on Sunday and they were talking, really great. And then there was like, do you ever realize that you are loved already without you even knowing? Like in your heart, you're already loved. So when you don't feel love for yourself, you're actually already always been loved. And that touched me. I was like, oh, it's true. If we're actually being loved from God the whole time, we do have someone to love us. So when you feel lonely and you feel like no one loves you and you're not good enough, that's,
God loves you.
yeah,
And that was another turnaround for me because that's where instead of me giving love, giving love, giving love, and it almost feeling like it was a force and pushing out,
yeah,
was actually to stop and sit back and realize that I am love and that I was born in love and that I am loved beyond measure. And I sat there and I went, oh, I can sit in this. Oh my God, that's what I was looking for.
yeah.
And so, and anyway, God, we could just carry on talking
Good.
forever,
I could
but
talk
it's
to you
just,
forever, Sheena. So I wanted to know a bit about the process, how you would go about drinking the water. Do you have a machine? Do you have to buy it? How does it work?
yeah, you do have to buy it. So although I have a machine and I'm looking to, to give it somewhere that somebody can use it. So if somebody has an idea that, because this machine is, it is like the holy grail to me and it doesn't just go anywhere. Somebody needs to look after it very, very well.
Yeah.
Because I want this water to be given out for free. And
Mm,
so I do have a machine. If somebody has an idea where you can utilize this machine and then give this water out for free, then just, have that conversation with me. I'm just looking for a good home for it and
yeah.
somebody's going to look after it. Now, the idea is that, so say like even Alcoholics Anonymous, that there was something
Right.
there.
Mm,
Let's say somebody there then decided, right, we're going to buy our own machine because we want to join the business. Because as soon as you buy a machine, then you buy the rights to sell the machine and you buy the rights to having a commission, just like a franchise.
yeah.
And so one person buys a machine, you make a commission, and then imagine the whole of Alcoholics Anonymous, but the feedback loop financially just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, which means that money then can be put back into Alcoholics Anonymous, which then, or whatever charity it is that you want to do. Like maybe it's an autism one, maybe it's an MS one. I've
Mhm.
got videos, that help, dramatic results with this water, but give it out for free, first of all. Get the machine, give it out for free. People will they'll want the machine. They'll want it and they'll tell other people and you will see the difference. And
This
then
would
that
be
feedback.
incredible. I think this would be incredible for like people to do it at schools and stuff. It would have been
Oh
amazing
my,
to start them from young to
absolutely.
see the benefits of their health throughout the school.
We were talking about because I had one stage in my life for a couple of months, had, needed food bank.
Yeah.
And it was just literally understanding, like whenever, to go in there that, here's a food bank, put it then and people can come and get the water.
Mm.
Like people can come and get the water
The
for
holy
free,
grail of
not
water.
the holy grail of water. And when we can start helping them just feel better. When you feel better, you have better thoughts. You're on a different frequency. And this is what we're doing. We're helping to rise you from the lowest of the low. You will start rising and you'll start to become more buoyant, which means your mind becomes more buoyant, which means then you tap into different thought system rather than thoughts down here. You're tapping into more expansive thoughts. Well, what I could do that and maybe I could. My coaching is here to be given away for free, for people who it's all here,
Yeah.
and I'm wanting to give that value, like, and just see it. I can just see it growing. I don't know how, but I was told, don't focus on the millions of pounds, focus
Yeah.
on the
Oh no.
millions of people.
The hat. Yeah. That's what I am as well. I even got the note, like a little sticky note by me. It goes help one person every 3 days. And this is my aim in life. Every day I want to help to make more
Yeah.
happiness in the
And
world.
it just feels good. And people say like, oh, it's like,
Be of
oh,
service. It
what's
feels great.
it, it's just for the pure joy of it because it
Mm.
feels so much flipping better than trying to get. Look at
Yeah.
the mirror effect. If I'm getting, then I'm actually taking away from myself. But when I just go, do you know what? I feel so rich inside, so rich. And I have been given so much. At 55, I have so many privileges in my life. And now it's time for me
Be
to
back.
give it out. So yes, people can either join the business with me.
Yeah.
There's so much coaching. There's a community of divine feminine people, male and female, and it's all working together for the good of everybody.
Great.
That's what's
Good.
great about this company, Louise. It's called Enagic, and I love it because you can say the magic of Enagic.
The magic
And
of it.
imagine this world as a game because we
Yeah.
haven't a clue what's going on there, man. So imagine it's a game. And all the stuff that they're throwing at us, we can just go, aha. So remember the battle's already won. So we're
Yeah.
just playing a game.
Hmm.
We're not trying to, I'm not trying to heal anybody at all. I'm
Yeah.
just playing a wee game here. And I've chosen my toy now as the Kangen water machine. Like
Hmm.
I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna do it to everybody, and fire the water around everybody. And it'll be like the Wicked Witch of, where she just dissolves. And but then all the brighten, oh, like I'm here. So this company has come up with the water machine. So I think that's brilliant. They're tackling how bad water
Yeah.
and that they're throwing at us. And then they've also come up with this device, electromagnetic frequency device, which actually cuts out all the magnetic frequency in your home. Oh my God. So they've
I've
come up with that as
seen,
well.
I've seen
And so
these.
yeah, and so, oh my God, that now then just literally cuts it out. So we're now protected as well. And they've also got an air machine that's not available for us to buy yet, but they've also, so whatever way as you might call it, people think it's a spiritual war, but it makes me laugh because everything is God. So, and it's just a play in the mind. And what game do you want to play? So whoever would love to come and play with me, we're going to have some freaking fun.
Fun.
And we're going to lift people out of wherever they are through fun, through love, through joy, and not by telling them to be any better, but just to love themselves exactly where they are, even if you're sitting in a pit, even if you're sitting in prison, it doesn't matter what you've never done anything wrong. I absolutely promise you. And
We're
I
enough.
just want you to feel better about being yourself.
That's incredible. I love that message, Sheena. So before we go, I'd like to see if you had anything else to share that you'd want people to know.
I don't know. I think I've done enough. You're,
You've done
you're
it
just
all.
perfect. You're just,
You're
you're
perfect.
just perfect. You're just perfect as you are. I am as God created me. Say that as you go
I
through the
am
day
as God
today.
created me.
Yeah. Say
That feels
somebody
good.
criticizes you, you can just go,
Hey, it's
well, I
God's
am
fault.
as God created
Criticize
me.
him.
And are
Um,
you criticizing God? Well, good luck on that
yeah.
one.
So, how can people get in contact with you to join?
Probably the best thing is through social media. I mean, I'm on YouTube,
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn. The
Okay.
name
I'll
Sheena
put all the
Cantar.
comments. I'll put it in the
You can
comments.
Google me, just like Google me. Like, my
Google
God,
her.
Sheena Cantar. You'll find me at the top of the
She is
list.
incredible. She is amazing. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all this with us. It was incredible to see you again. I told you she was great. I
Thank
love
you for
having you
having me.
on. Thank you so much again. And I'll
Cheerio
speak to you
now.
soon. Bye.